Good afternoon, welcome to another video. Today we've got an EGR pipe problem on the Vectra. About 2-3 months ago I removed the EGR valve, and when I blanked off the pipe work, I left a pipe on there that wasn't stable. It's the feed pipe from the cooler up to the valve itself, and I just blanked the top of it off. Now I did notice that it was a bit loose, but I just left it, and I shouldn't have done, because it's fractured now and the car has gone into limp mode, so it won't go over 3,500 revs, and it sounds like a bag of spanners. So we're going to take it off and see what we can do, because I need to get to work for the rest of this week. Alright, let's get going. Yeah, it's broken. Now, I don't know if you can see down here, but we've got all this. It seems to be a shredded remains of a piece of pipe sheathing, which has obviously been caused by the hot gases leaking out. Nice. Right, to get this pipe off, we need to undo an Allen bolt, which is right down there where the pipe meets the feed pipe from the EGR cooler, which is sort of down there. Now the two pipes are held together with a kind of jubilee clip, a bit like an exhaust clamp that clamps two parts together. So in order to get to that Allen bolt, which goes in that way, I'm going to take this induction pipe off here, just to try and get a bit more access down there. So two jubilee clips with a 7mm nut. And this pipe don't want to come off. There we go. Right, so we've got a touch more access now, but I don't know whether or not I've got enough access. No, I don't. What we could do with is the throttle body taking off as well. So for good measure, I'm going to remove the negative terminal of the battery, just to avoid any unwanted mishaps. That's the front one. And the gasket's there. So if you can see there, that is the clamp that we need to remove, and that is the pipe that's broken. So as you can see, it's a difficult, hard to get to little clamp. So I'm going to whip that off, and I'll come back to you, and I'll decide what I'm going to do to try and fix it. See you in a minute. Right, so as you can see, this is the pipe, and you can see that dirty, horrible snap in it there, that brake. Now that's basically because that's been bolted to the engine like this, and as the engine's been revving and idling, it's been wobbling like that because this top bit has been blanked off and not connected to anything. So my thoughts are, this is the part that bolts to the engine or to the feed pipe from the EGR cooler. So if I cut a disc of steel, disc of metal, to go in there and then clamp it back on to effectively blank and seal it, that might work. So let's see if we can find a piece of metal that will fit. Now, this is the gasket that's come out of it, so I think I'm going to use this as a template to cut the right size piece of steel. So let's get on with that. I've got a piece of carbon steel here, 4mm thick, which I think might do the job. Right, whenever you're cutting metal, wear your safety glasses. I don't have any gloves. Don't do what I'm doing. Safety first and all that. But I'm just going to have to get on with it. You've got to work with what you've got sometimes, and this is all I've got, so let's give it a go. Right, we've got the new disc fabricated. And at first glance, it seems to be a perfect fit in there. So the plan is to bolt this, clamp this back onto the pipe coming out of the EGR cooler, which will avoid the need for all this. So I'm going to try and clamp it on. We've got a gasket. So if I can get it to seal like that, then I'll take it off again and we'll cut this, smooth it down, and just use that as this end piece of the pipe there, just as a blanking plate really. And hopefully that should keep everything sealed. Right, okay, so this is what we've ended up with. I've cut the end of the pipe off, so it just leaves this to go back onto the feed pipe. I've had to thin down this disc of metal because it was just too thick to make the join with the clamp, and it's still going to be a bit of a problem. But the way around it, rather than using the short screw that goes into it, we're going to use a longer nut and a bolt to try and tighten it up. Hopefully it's going to work. But I'm running out of light pretty fast, so I need to get moving with it, try and get it back on, back together, take it out on the road and see if it's worked. Right, it's getting late now. The light has gone, so I'm working by torchlight, but if I can show you down here, so if you can see that is the remains of the pipe. I've had to redo the clamp on there with a nut and a bolt, and the metal disc that I made, unfortunately, that's been lost. It fell off and I just can't find it anywhere. So I've resorted to going in the recycling bin, getting an empty beer can and cutting a disc of thin tin and using that as a blanking plate in there. So I'm just hoping that's going to work. I've got the throttle body back on, that's still plugged in, so the only thing left to do now is to put this pipe on. So I'll get that done now, we'll get tidied up. Okay, well the Vectra is done. I need to order a new throttle body gasket because the old one was just ruined. Covered in oil, it was degraded, so I've put it on without one. Not sure if it's going to be alright, but we'll have to wait and see. Having said that, I don't know whether the blanking plate is going to be any good, so it's all a bit of an unknown quantity at the moment. It's dark now. I'm going in, have something to eat, and then I'll take the car out and just see how it goes. Hopefully it's running alright, and I'll get round to finishing the gasket and little bits and pieces off at a future date. Okay, we're going out for a little test drive. The battery's been disconnected for a good hour or so, which will be more than enough time to reset the ECU, clear the fault codes. So in theory there shouldn't be any lights on the dashboard. I just want to see how it runs. I'm aware that the throttle body is missing its gasket, so I'm half expecting an issue from that. And I've also got the piece of tin from the beer can acting as a blanking plate for the EGR valve pipe that had been split, so let's see how she starts up. Right, it's a really quick journey and the car's exactly the same. Now I don't know whether that is because the throttle body not having a gasket, or whether it's the blanking plate from the piece of beer can that hasn't worked, or whether it's a combination of the two. But one thing is for certain, and that is that this car is not fixed. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, any suggestions, and just put them down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.